Marvel might be the highest making studio of all time, but at one point in time they were on the verge of bankruptcy. Today, I'm going to tell you how Marvel saved themselves from this bankruptcy. Okay, so this all starts in December 1996. Marvel was losing money all over the place. They owned Disney, they owed Disney $1.7 million, and they had to lay off 1/3 of their staff at the time. So I bet you're wondering, how did Marvel get so close to bankruptcy? Well, let me tell you. When they were in the middle of the bankruptcy, their movies weren't making that much money. When they were trying to make movies, they weren't that successful. They tried making Howard the Duck, the Hulk, and the Fantastic Four movies. Well, I don't even know if they had the rights to Fantastic Four when they made those movies, but basically those movies weren't all that successful. But then, so they sold off some of their movies to Fox and Sony and stuff, so they could make some money off that. But when Fox and Sony made those movies, when New Line Cinema made the Blade movies, when it made money, Marvel barely got any money out of it. I think they only got $1,000 or something. And while the Spider-Man and X-Men movies made millions of dollars, I don't even think they got any money off those because Spider-Man was legally owned by Sony and X-Men was legally owned by Fox. So this was part of the reason why they were bankrupt, because they were selling off everything that they owned right at that point. So right now, Marvel was making money, but not that much. They were on the verge of bankruptcy and stuff. But then one day, a man named David Maisel had a genius idea. He said, why don't we just come up with our own studio and keep 100% of profits? Marvel did like the idea, but they were hesitant, because if this idea didn't work for the first movie they made, then it would be bankruptcy. Because then they'd spent all the money on a movie that wasn't successful at all. Maisel's main point for making their own studio was that they wouldn't be worse off than they were now, and if anything, if this was successful, then they would make more money off of it, and they'd be able to have creative control over it, and they'd also be able to make more money off of their movies. What persuaded them to do it was Maisel saying this would have them have complete control over the movies, and they'd be able to make more money off of it too. He also said that they wouldn't be worse off, but honestly, if this movie was not successful, then they'd lose every other Marvel thing that they'd own, and it would be sold off to the bank, and they'd probably get permanent bankruptcy. So I don't think he was sticking it all the way through when he was telling them that everything would be fine if it failed. So what they did was get a character that was owned by New Line Cinema at the time, but didn't have a live-action movie at the time either. So they got Iron Man from New Line Cinema because they didn't have a live-action movie yet, and then they started making a movie about him, fully financed by Marvel, and then after that, it was a success. Made $500 million, and they were able to continue all the movies all the way up to Endgame. I hope everybody that saw this video today enjoyed it. Remember to like and subscribe if you want to support me. Have a great day, everybody.